let's move on to one other topic that you've been writing about. We are 21 days, I think it is, from the potential government shutdown.
Yeah.
People remember, I think it was back in March, the government need to be funded again. And Chuck Schumer ended up leading, I think it was like 12 Democrats, but initially it was closer to like 6 or 7 or 8. They needed to provide those votes for the Republicans to pass a budget. And many people said, don't do this. Donald Trump is like a burgeoning authoritarian. Doge is running around. Elon Musk is shutting down all sorts of agencies. They are talking about rescission, pulling back money that has already been appropriated by Congress.
Right.
And Chuck Schumer's argument at the time was, well, a government shutdown is exactly what Trump wants, which he could have easily orchestrated if that's what he wanted. But let's give Chuck Schumer the benefit of the doubt that
you give Chuck Schumer the benefit of the doubt
in this very narrow place that Donald Trump was playing, 10 level chess here. And then what they'll do is they'll shut down things like Medicaid, or they'll defund agencies, or gosh knows what. He didn't say they'll make ICE the largest federal or the largest, larger than armies.
If we only had access to the future, we could have figured out that Chuck Schumer was full of crap.
Right. If there had been some document like, what we're going to do in 2025 by the Republicans.
Right.
Call it like their project.
Right. Like describing the whole project. If you
then maybe Chuck Schumer could have seen that's what they were doing. But nevertheless, we're back here again. Chuck Schumer voted to fund, and it wasn't even a clean budget resolution. It also had like a clause where the Congress would not be responsible for tariffs. So it got the Republicans off the hook in the House, for reversing Donald Trump's. And it also had some other funding of stuff that the Republicans wanted. But we're back here again.
Yep.
Even Schumer's biggest supporters, folks like Ezra Klein, who are sort
friend
of
the show,
friend of yours. Even Ezra Klein is now saying, well, it was a good idea then, but it's a bad idea now, because somehow it seems like, look, Donald Trump has done all the things that Chuck Schumer said he would have done during a government shutdown, but worse, and has done so not totally undercover, but, most people don't know the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has lost 80% of their staff. Most people don't know that that all these grants have gone away, that we've destroyed Health and Human Services, that the FDA, the USDA, on and on and on. Most people don't know this because most people don't follow this stuff. So they don't realize how much of a crisis the US government is in right now. They don't know about FEMA. They don't know about all these things because people live their lives. And they're got to make money and deal with their kids and whatever it is. So Chuck Schumer.
The reality, the number that comes, that I think is most prominent in this, is that at the Appropriations Committee in the Senate, Patty Murray's minority staff has estimated that the Trump administration is currently withholding $410 billion in grants that were appropriated by Congress. In other words, as one of these budget deals, they said, we're going to give $400 billion to X, Y, Z, and Q. And Trump has just illegally withheld that money. And yet we're thinking about how are we going to do another budget deal where we give this, we appropriate this money that Trump has already shown no willingness to abide by.
And in the wake of that deal, you had people even like Nancy Pelosi saying like, well, making a deal where you get nothing out of the deal, which is what Chuck Schumer brought home for the Democrats at that time.
Right.
Not a promise not to do rescission, nothing, zero, less than zero.
Right.
He's now a little bit embarrassed about it. And so they're coming up of what the get can be. And
Right.
they have come to the get to something that it seems to me Republicans desperately want to give, but
Right.
want to be forced into giving because Republicans are looking at one of the first, it seems to me, almost universal accountability moments where
Right.
it cannot be ignored. And that is essentially a healthcare cliff. Describe it to us.
Yeah. So in the Inflation Reduction Act, actually, initially in the American Rescue Plan, but then extended in the Inflation Reduction Act, the Democrats created new subsidies for the Affordable Care Act exchanges. So if you get your coverage in these marketplaces, before these new subsidies were added, there was a cliff in there where if you made over a certain income level, you suddenly had to pay a lot more for your health insurance. You lost all the subsidies. And so that got smoothed out, and basically across the board, the subsidies got more generous so that we had, something approaching true affordability in these marketplaces. It wasn't universal health care, but by and large, these exchanges were much more affordable because of this, and because the subsidies were expanded. And the last time this passed in the Inflation Reduction Act, it was for 2 fiscal years, 2024 and 2025 at that point. And so at the end of 2025, these enhanced subsidies expire, and we would go back to the old system. And what that means for an individual, we've heard some stories about health insurance rates going up, and that's largely because of the Medicaid cuts and the big, beautiful bill and some of the other things. Health insurance rates are probably going up 6% or so. And for exchange coverage, they're going up something like 18%. But this is separate from that. These are the subsidies that allow you to afford that insurance. And if those subsidies are taken away, people affected by this could see, on average, more than a 75% increase in the cost of their health insurance. An incredible number, almost double the cost of their health insurance. And millions of people
overnight.
And the Congressional Budget Offices looked at this and said, okay, how many people are not going to be able to afford health insurance as a result of this? And they said 5 million people. So 5 million people are going to, according to this estimate, lose their health insurance because they will no longer be able to afford it. And those who will be able to afford it will just sort of barely hang on, right, with an increase of over 75%.
Okay. And so people should understand this is coming from two directions. One, we have the biggest increases in insurance that we've probably seen maybe in a decade.
Since the ACA.
Since the ACA. So 2014, a decade.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, the contraction, if not the elimination of subsidies that helped a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
In the calculation, 5 million people are going to lose it because of how expensive it is to them. Have we figured out what the rate increase is going to be in the following year with 5 million less customers?
Right. It's going to get worse and worse.
Right. It's just going to exponentially.
That's what we know about insurance. Like if you have a smaller risk pool, that means there's more of a chance that one person getting sick increases your costs. And then as an insurance company, you have to set rates that way. And there could be a death spiral in the exchanges if they just become more and more unaffordable. Okay. So we're looking at year one here in the 75% increase, but it's going to keep going up.
Let's go back to when John McCain gave his thumbs down for the repeal of the Affordable Care Act back in 2017, 2018. I can't remember exactly which year it was.
Mhm.
Donald Trump was furious.
It was 17.
But the Republican Party was largely thankful because they had no they had no replacement for this. Now they
Right.
all wanted to vote against the ACA because that became sort of a totem for the Republican Party.
Right.
But John McCain knew he was doing this, and a lot of the Republicans knew he was saving the Republican Party from themselves.
Right.
Now, Chuck Schumer is in the position of John McCain because
Right.
the Republican Party desperately wants to avoid 5 million people losing their health insurance.
And others and a large section of the middle class paying a lot more for health insurance. So let's just say, even before this, this deal we're about to discuss or proposed deal was put together, Republicans were talking amongst themselves. Oh, I think we're going to have to extend those ACA subsidies because if we don't, we're really screwed in the election. And so they were planning to do it themselves. It wasn't definite. They might not have gotten there, but there was going to be this big fight where they would either do it themselves or failed to get it done and then face the whirlwind of in next November.
But they were also between a rock and a hard place because voting to expand or maintain Obamacare is poisonous to their base.
Absolutely. So they were in a really, really tough spot.
All those Congress people are like, I don't want to get primaried from my right. And if I do this, I'm giving weaponry to some lunatic in my district to primary me from the right.
And yet they know this is something I need because in the general election, I'm going to get pilloried for it.
Exactly. And so what they need is cover to have this done. And Chuck Schumer is like, hi,
I've got cover.
I've got something for you.
The Baileys want me to cover it.
And to be clear, Democrats could also agree to this legislation outside of the budget. They could say, like, I think this could be a separate, it doesn't have to be part of the budget deal.
Doesn't have to be part of the budget deal. It's obviously, you can pass legislation on this anytime. There is a bill, there are two bills in Congress already to extend these premium tax credits. One extends it for 1 year. And this is another important part of this. One of these bills, which was put together by a bunch of frontliners, people who are worried about losing their election, bipartisan, says, let's extend it for 1 year. In other words, get it past the midterms, then we'll deal with it after that. Another bill put together by Democrats says, let's make it permanent. And, the question is, what is Schumer going to bargain for? Is he going to say, I won't give you votes for the budget unless you extend it for 1 year? Or I won't give you votes for the budget unless you make it permanent? If you make it permanent, there are a lot of reasons we can discuss why that's still a bad idea, but at least it's permanent, right? Imagine him saying, okay, if you extend it for 1 year, just to get Republicans past the midterms, then you'd be giving something Republicans need in exchange for passing a budget, which is something Republicans want. So, what is the trade here?
There is no trade. This is, again, Schumer just trying to figure out how he can capitulate without save face. Yeah. And they, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries are desperate for Democrats not to understand this dynamic. It seems to me,
right?
Because
and they still have this pathology where they see themselves as the responsible party, and they can't imagine they can't imagine a world where they shut down the government, even if Trump is violating the law, even if he is usurping the power of the budget, the power of the purse from Congress.
Do you think it's still this pathology, or do you think it's just they're in service of some other constituency? I mean, this is absurd.
I just don't think they're prepared for, let's say they go with this. I mean, I don't agree with it, but let's say they go with it and they say, okay, we're not passing a budget unless you extend the tax subsidies. And then Trump says, no. I don't think they're prepared for what to do in that instance, because they don't want, if you're in a negotiation and you're
Right.
offering something as a condition, and you're not willing to walk away from the table, then what you're offering is meaningless.
And the idea that like it's just stunning to me. This is such malpractice because we now see Democrats like, they're Republicans have higher approval ratings than Democrats right now. It's just, it's shocking. It is shocking.
And you have some people saying, yeah, but Democrats still have higher ratings on healthcare. So if they can back Republicans into a corner on healthcare, this can be our ask, and this is a winnable fight. I don't know. It's 50-dimensional chess that doesn't make any sense to me. You're basically relieving Republicans of the consequences of their own actions, and not getting any kind of assurances that, I'm not going to, no guardrails about not following the budget that you're about to pass with them, et cetera, et cetera.
How close is this deal into happening? I mean, I'm reading the things.
I don't think it's very close. I mean, I think that
Johnson's
it's something.
Like, this is not something they desperately want. This, it seems to me,
yeah.
The Republicans desperate that this is such a trap. It seems.
I think the leadership would be happy with it, but I still think Republicans have some problems on their right in terms of people who absolutely don't want to pass an extension of these subsidies. And they are concerned, Mike Johnson still has, the right wingers still have the ability to depose him from the speakership, right? So there's still problems there on the right. And Trump has not shown any aptitude or interest in any kind of negotiation with Democrats throughout this entire term. So, I think it's something that certainly there's a trial balloon out there. Democrats are thinking about offering this. I don't think they formally offered it yet. But if they do, I think there's an interesting dynamic on the right as to whether they would be able and willing to accept it.
I will tell you right now.
You believe they would.
Look, everybody thought that they would capitulate, that the right would have essentially sunk every other whatever it's been, the budget resolution, the single bill, the big, beautiful bill, on and on and on. And they always capitulate. Somebody's always just got to say to Trump, like, this is the safest thing for you. And boom, it will happen. Homework for people right now. If you live in a Republican's district, you call and you say, no extension of the subsidies for Obamacare. I will not tolerate that. If you live in a Democratic district, you say, no deal with the Republicans. We need to shut the government down unless Republicans are willing to fund the government and promise that a whole litany of things.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of things you could argue over that you could get in exchange for a budget deal, but it's just hard for me to conceive of doing a deal with Donald Trump, who has been unwilling to hold up his side of any bargain. Like, why are you negotiating with this person?
Absolutely. The guy has shown that he has total disregard for our laws.
And I should say, it's good that Ezra said that very plainly.
I'm very happy to see him here. And it would have been nice if he took a cue from Jamel Bowie and had done it 7 months ago, or I should say 11 months ago. But
whatever.
Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we'll take that. And hopefully they listen to him in a way that Joe Biden listened to Matt Iglesias. So we will see. David Dayen, you are the guy that all of these people should be listening to. They should be reading the American Prospect on a daily basis. They should be listening to Big Money.
Organized Money. Organizedmoney.fm is where you go to
like the .fm. And of course,
episodes.
Your week in review at the Prospect on Fridays, available on demand. David Dayen, always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.